Hi, Sheila here. Thanks for logging in and deciding to sit to gather our awareness together and see what arises. So, in addition to the practices of being with whatever arises, there are opportunities within this insight or mindfulness practice to actually create certain landscapes, to cultivate certain states of heart and mind that really fortify us as human beings, kind of cushion us against what psychologists remind us is called a negativity bias, that we tend to be Velcro for the negative and Teflon for the positive. It's just a habit that many of us have. Maybe not all of us, but it's just known that when something not so good happens, we tend to stick with it and hold on to it and chew it over and look at it over and over. And so the internal chemicals, cortisol, the stress hormones, kind of circulate every time we think about it. And the good things that happen kind of float off more easily. So this particular practice that we'll do today will center a little bit on gratitude. It's a way of priming the pump, or really creating neural pathways to something, to thoughts and emotions that we consider wholesome, because they support well-being and ease. Never in avoidance of things that come up that aren't pleasant, but there is a time when we can turn towards something like this that really helps us in times of stress or just in general. So that'll be a little bit of the theme. And of course, if the suggestions don't land really well for you, then just stay with the breath and sensation. And in terms of what arises, there's nothing prescribed. It doesn't mean we're going to feel these huge blasts of gratitude. We just don't know what we'll feel, but it's a practice. So we'll see what shows up. So we'll begin, as always, sitting comfortably and upright, and allowing the eyes to lower or close, whatever suits you. Taking inventory as we draw attention and awareness inward to the seat that we've taken, creating some length in the spine, and then some depth to the breath. So just inviting a longer, wider breath, seeing if you can let the breath begin with a soft belly and move into the ribs, and then up into the upper chest. And the breath drains out slowly and evenly. There's no rush. Just noticing what it feels to take the next breath, or to release a breath. And you might notice, along with the breath, that the mind is already thinking about, what is this practice going to be like? Maybe you're making a list of things you can be grateful for, and see if we can notice that as a thought, and notice what it feels like to turn back towards the moment through the breath or through sensation in the body. So paying a little more attention to the body, noticing the backs of the thighs, the buttocks, maybe the feet if they're on the floor. All the parts that kind of ground us so that we can rise up through the crown of the head. Shoulders can release down and slightly back. Maybe awareness lands in one part of the body, or maybe it's really general, just a sense of sitting without doing. Kind of a sensation of aliveness that is always there, that we don't notice until we, on purpose, pay attention as we are now. And so much like each breath that happens during the day continuously, there are things in our life that we might feel grateful for. And so we can take a moment to turn towards that. Just landing gently on something small that kind of warms your heart when you think of it, that you would be sad if it went out of your life. So not an exhaustive list of everything, because some of us have tons of things we could put on the list. Just one or two things. It could be just clean, warm water that you washed your face with this morning, or a clean towel that you were able to use, or the company of a friend, someone that's been in touch with you over these months. Or it could be something that you're grateful for about yourself, maybe a talent or skill that really you feel grateful that you know how to cook or garden. Whatever it is, let it come to the mind gently and kind of seep in as an experience more than a thought. So when we hold this idea of appreciation and gratitude, rather than thinking about all the details of the item or person or event, see if you can move more towards how it feels to have the experience of gratitude. And again, there's no prescribed list of things you will feel. Whatever you feel is fine. The practice is to notice what arises in what we think of as our heart or our heart-mind, because they are joined, or somewhere in our body. Maybe we just feel a little release, a little comfort, a little ease. So we begin to really look at what appreciation feels like. Kind of the opposite of feeling deprived of something. Instead, we feel grateful for something small. Something that we would miss if it departed from our life. Notice if the mind's tendency is to create stories about this thing or person or event. And if we can instead replace those narratives with an awareness of the sensations, the vibrations, the feelings that are generated just by calling to mind something that we appreciate, that is already in our life. Maybe it brings a smile to the face and the heart, a sense of gladness. So we start to both experience and recognize feelings of gratitude, appreciation. Sometimes it's very highlighted when we imagine that whatever this is, it's not permanent. It could go away. Maybe that makes it sweeter to realize that we have had the experience of it. We feel grateful for the person or event for however long it appears in our life. It's not a grasping, it's a noticing with an open heart and a sense of appreciation. And then kind of let go of that imagining and return to the feel of your body, the feel of your breath. Noticing if possibly there's any difference in the sensations of sitting and noticing after holding some gratitude in your awareness. So we can actually notice what it's like to notice. That it's not a figuring out, it's not a thought process. It's something visceral, something that we sense, that we experience. That we know will pass, will morph perhaps into an attraction to a thought that has arisen. Again, that cycle of present moment and then thoughts of the past or the future. Maybe you're still thinking about your list of gratitude. So notice what it takes to release and return to the present moment. And so into the next moment or two, we'll just share together the focus of sound through the singing bowl. 3 chimes. Just let your awareness enter through your ears and listen to the sound as long as you can keep contact with it. And so the eyes can open slowly. It's also a nice practice to look around your surroundings for a moment. Maybe pick up on 1 or 2 things that maybe you haven't noticed in a while, but you appreciate when you see. Probably a lot of things like that in our environment we forget are there because we get busy and our awareness gets directed to other things. So the practice of gratitude, much like metta or loving kindness, is a way of creating neural pathways, kind of dropping breadcrumbs so that we can find our way there more often. What we put our attention on grows. So we just want to make sure we know inside what that feels like. I know we make Gratitude journals have been something that's popular, and they're wonderful. Wake up in the morning and really think of 2 or 3 things you're grateful for. It's a practice because we do it. The more regularly we do it, the more likely we are to do it, and the more likely we are to derive the benefits of more peace and ease inside, kind of balancing out some of the more sticky and less quieting things that pass through our awareness during the day. So this is kind of a counterbalance, kind of sweetens things from the inside out, and really all we're doing is appreciating what we have, kind of balances out some of the wants and cravings for the things that we don't have yet, or the things we have had that have moved on, because like all of it, it's impermanent, it changed, and maybe we're longing for it. So it's nice to place our awareness into the moment and be appreciative for something we really have. So that's something you can do at any time on your own. You can do it during the day, as I said, just as you're taking a pause and a few breaths, there can be a moment of gratitude. An attitude of gratitude, how's that? Sounds good to me. Thanks for practicing. I look forward to seeing you all probably next week. Stay well.